Hey there, this is Uncle Al, and this is my opinion as to why traditional jazz and swing music is just vastly superior and better than modern jazz. Now, a lot of people would look at me like 10 heads for saying that, but hear me out. I have some good reasons for this. For one, I would say trad jazz or swing, traditional swing, it's more melodic, it's more catchy, it's easy to dance to, but there's also that listener's music element as well. Some of those arrangements are brilliant, especially some of Benny Carter's arrangements in the late 40s with his big band. Those arrangements are really interesting, really cool harmonies, but it still swings and it's really grooves and it's fun to listen to. A lot of modern jazz is just not fun to listen to. You start to zone out after a while, at least in my experience, as a trained jazz musician who has trained ears and all that good stuff. I still find it to tend to be on the boring side. And after a few minutes, I need to get the heck out of there because I personally don't want to listen to 10-minute solos where it's like there's barely any space and there's a total lack of any kind of arrangement whatsoever. The only arrangement is even maybe just a hint at the melody, if even. Um, so I'll say traditional jazz and swing are better for a number of reasons, and just more musical. It's and some people might say, oh well, it's commercial. Swing was commercial music. I mean, it had a commercial appeal, but I think that was that way for a good reason. And back then, things didn't really become popular unless they were really actually worthy of incredible amounts of talent and had the talent to back it up. It was different back then. So I would say, to sum it up, swing and traditional jazz are more melodic. It's more melodic, more catchy. It has a danceable element and a listener's art music element that is kind of combined in a lot of these cool arrangements you can listen to from back then. And just the way the musicians played, it's like a hybrid of dance music and art music, which I think modern jazz tends to throw out the dance element altogether. And it's mostly just making it purely art music, which I think is kind of losing the essence of the tradition of the music. Because initially it was dance music. So even if you're playing the modern stuff, you should still have that element. And if you don't, I would question the validity of that kind of jazz because it's so out of touch with its original roots. I think the roots are so important to have in any art form, and you shouldn't neglect the roots. And a lot of modern jazz does that. It does neglect the roots. It even neglects melody a lot of the time. A lot of players, when they play the head, they don't even really play the melody the way it's supposed to be played. They only hint at it a little bit. So you're not even getting that. And then on top of it, the solos are really long. Most of the time, the horn players in modern jazz will just kind of stand there twiddling their thumbs while the other player takes a solo. And to me, that's kind of like, well, why be in the band then? You should be doing some kind of backgrounds at least once in a while. Play a riff in the background once in a while. Do some backgrounds. Like don't just stand there. That's silly. Add some more texture to the music. I mean, that's why you're there. Just because someone's soloing doesn't mean you have to stand there like dead quiet and do absolutely nothing. That's like pretentious. And it's pretentious of a soloist to expect that of all the other players, that they're just going to be dead quiet while they, just noodle away and play to their heart's content, even if it's like, really overly notey and, just, unmusical, pardon my French. So that's basically my opinion. I do think my opinion is backed up pretty well. And to quote Albert Einstein, see, this is how I see it. Let's quote Albert Einstein for a second. What did Einstein say? He said, any intelligent fool can make things bigger and more complex. It takes a touch of genius to go in the other direction. So there again is another kind of example as to why I think traditional jazz and swing is superior, because it's not preoccupying itself with being hip or being cool or being far out. It just is. It does what it wants to do. It does what works. It does what works. It's musical. It's rhythmic. It's danceable. It's all of those things combined. And that's why it's just superior, because it's got like more flavors. There's more flavors to choose from. Whereas with a lot of modern jazz, it's just done one way. It's purely listener's music most of the time. And even for someone like me who's got trained ears, I find that a little boring. I want to feel it too. I want to be able, if I want to be able to, I want to feel like I could dance to it, even if I'm not going to. Even if I'm just going to sit there, I want to feel that danceable element, even just a little bit at least. And most of the time, it's not the case. So that's my opinion. If you disagree, that's okay. But that is my well thought out opinion on this. Not to like diss bebop or modern jazz. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying ultimately, I think the swing tradition and the traditional jazz tradition is superior in many ways, and the reasons I have provided is why I think that way. But anyway, have a great night. Thank you.